I'm just getting the last little bit stuff here.
So unprofessional.
So unprofessional, I know. Hello, we are starting. How's everyone doing? The first annual secular student comedy night. Hopefully, we can make this a regular thing and get, people to know about it. But let me tell you a little bit about our group. We are the Secular Student Alliance. We're the ones putting up everything here. Our group is a pro-secular group or a pro-science group. We are pro-separation of church and state, and we do a lot. In this community, we have, for example, we did a Hug an Atheist Day, which I was the atheist. People were hugging. We worked with who was it all with? It was with the Muslim student group. It was with the Unitarian Universalist group. We also try to do stuff like charity and stuff for the community. We're just trying to get out there. We're actually one of the most active secular groups in West Virginia, so that we're really proud of that. And before we get started, I would like to talk a little bit about upcoming events. On April 20th, we have Dan Barker coming to speak. He is the president of the
Freedom from Religion Foundation.
Freedom from Religion Foundation. He's coming here to speak. He's a real big deal. We also, next semester, we're having Aaron Raw coming over. He's also a really big deal, one of the first real big YouTube atheists. He's going to come here and speak, so we're really excited about that. And I want to give a couple shout-outs. I want to give a shout-out to Josh, who actually gave us the idea of this group. Like, it was a comedy night. He came up to us like, hey man, why don't we have like an atheist thing? And we're like, that's an awesome idea, let's do that. So shout out to him. I want to give a shout out to Maggie Capehart, who is sitting right there in the Pokemon hat. She is the president of the Secular Student Alliance, and she does everything here. Like she set up this whole thing. She got the room. She got make sure everything was set up here. She organizes all our events. If it wasn't for her, our group wouldn't be doing anything. And she really does do everything. I mean, don't get it confused by me standing up and talking. She's the one that actually does everything. So I just want to give a hand. You're not even talking right now. I'm just give a hand to Meg. She really deserves it. She's the person behind. She just does everything. And our group is one of the most active people because of her, because her brain just doesn't stop going.
Please help.
So a couple things I want to talk about is I posted I'm sure all of you have seen the poster for this event. Like come to the Blasphemous stand-up comedy, free stand-up comedy, and I posted that poster on our main public page. Something I forgot, because I want to get as many people here as possible, something I forgot was we actually have a lot of Christians that like our page. And I forgot that because we got a lot of attention for this, but it was mostly like Christians talking about us. So I want to take this opportunity to read aloud some of the things that they have said about this particular event tonight.
Yes, please.
After seeing one of the people that commented was Ratio Christi, which is an apologetics group here on campus. Also, a couple of religious people had something to say. That's okay. So the first thing I noticed was they shared. Okay, here we go. I noticed that they shared our poster and made a little comment. So Ratio Christi said, after posting this, they said, but we don't need apologetics. I'm not sure what that means. And then here's one of my favorites. His name is Jason Sad. This is what he posted. He posted, this is why we at Appalachian Crime Ministries take the gospel to college campuses. It is a mission field that is vastly unreached. So we have like a whole Christian group on campus, and we have like a whole ministry and everything, but okay. And this is my favorite, by the way. Her name is Rebecca, spelled with a C and a K at the end, I guess. She said, "This grieves my spirit, especially on this holy weekend." Oh, by the way, the fact this is on Good Friday was a complete accident. Like, we had no idea it was Good Friday until someone pointed out. We're like, "Oh my God, that's awesome!" Of course it's Good Friday. So she said, especially on this holy weekend, some wonder why Christian kids need to be taught about apologetics. Why they believe what they believe and how to defend it. And to know and understand Scripture. Here is a great reason. So that gave me a lot of pride. Which was really sad to me because a lot of people commented on their posts. And they said, it's like, "Oh, that was today. If I knew it earlier, I would have came and we would have handed out like pamphlets and stuff outside the event." I'm like, damn it! That would have been awesome! Can you imagine if, like protesters or, people handing out chick tracts? That would have been the most amazing thing ever.
Oh, we would have read their chick tracts.
So, even when I was advertising this event earlier, there was this woman who came. There was this one lady. She was this lady from Africa, and I told her about the event. She looked at the poster. I said, "Oh yeah, this is what we do," and she just stared daggers into me. I've never been more uncomfortable in my life, but overall, it's pretty indifference people had. But I love that we're fulfilling the college stereotype right now with this event. I'm so excited. But I grew up in Kansas. I lived in Kansas for a while, and the reason I bring that up is because that's really how I became an atheist, is by living in Kansas. We have to understand, I was raised Christian, but there was always this understanding in my family that, it's not all real. Like, when you take the basic story of Jesus and stuff, but like Noah, it's like, yeah, that's kind of bullshit. Like, the idea of like fundamentalist Christianity, something I never even knew existed until I came to middle school. I remember the exact moment. My brother came home, because he was in college, he's like, "Yeah, I have a roommate who believes the earth is 5,000 years old." I'm like, "What? What about dinosaurs? What is he talking about?" Like, when an 11-year-old is poking holes in your theory, it's a problem. And also, that was around 2004. That was around when, the whole 2004 election where it was all about gay marriage and stuff. And honestly, it was also the time I was watching Cowboy Bebop, because there was a specific episode that actually caused me to question my faith for the first time. And that really is the legacy of millennial atheists. What were we most influenced by? Cowboy Bebop, early anime, and YouTube atheists. And this is what it's all about. I'm just a host, so I'm going to get off here pretty quick, have the real comedians start. For our first comic, I forgot to put the list up. Just give me a second.
Is it professional?
His name is Andrew Best.
Andrew Best, I know, I just want the list up here. Just give me a second.
He's not setting up.
Just set it up. Just set it up. Andrew Best, everyone.
Looking out here, I feel like the attendance at church should be a little better than this. Maybe we're wrong. Doesn't YouTube atheist seem a little redundant? I just don't see a lot of Christian YouTube videos in my feed. So that might also be, this is probably not what's getting suggested. Well, one thing, I don't even think this isn't going to be real, structured, but neither is the Bible. So, but one thing I've noticed, you ever think of God was proud of his, that his son grew up to be a hard-working, dirty work boot carpenter? And do you ever think about the fact that he was a Jewish carpenter? He probably cut a pretty hard bargain on those pieces of wood. Here's the thing, he's a carpenter, and yet they make him build his own cross.
Oh, no.
And I'm pretty sure that he probably got pissed that if somebody else built it, he's like, if you're taking a carpenter's work, you Roman pipe fitter. At least let me carry it up there. What are these nails, 10 penny? Oh man, and you never make a bet with God either, because he'll literally murder a man and his family to win it. I'm pretty sure he angle shot Satan on that one, because he knew that that guy would do that, and he's like, well, I'm going to prove a point. And I'm pretty sure there wasn't even any money on the line. It was just pride. Who bets for fucking pride? Pride doesn't get me hit in the leg with a baseball bat. I don't pay. And I wonder who's God and Satan's bookie? Probably Judas. Speaking of Judas, you ever think of, like, see the picture of like the Last Supper and imagine there's a pizza party and Judas ordered a pizza with anchovies? Everybody's pissed. And then they figure out Judas was able to somehow afford all the pizzas. And you're like, where did you get the 50 pieces? You left a 5 silver tip. Don't worry, Jesus. You'll find out why. I mean, also in the Bible, I'm pretty sure at one point, they edited it out, obviously, but you could rape a chick, and then as long as you married her and gave her dad a little bit of money, you'd be okay. But I'm thinking, like, that still doesn't sound like a good enough deal. You gotta live with it forever? You're gonna be broken. Like a rape's one of those things is diminishing returns. Oh man. I'll tell you one thing. Satan has all the best music. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, woo. Yeah, I don't think God's ever topped the top 40 charts. But that's the thing, is like people in the 70s, like moms especially, were worried about their kids listening to devil music. But yeah, there's a guy dressed like a leather daddy talking about bringing boys to the YMCA. Nobody bats an eye. And then you're like, oh, don't buy that Meatloaf album, Bat Out of Hell. It's just a dude trying to fuck a chick for 7 songs. Maybe you should be worried about that. I mean, why don't you worry about your kid listening to Mr. Brownstone? Might be shooting heroin. But, you know, oh, play the record backwards and Satan speaks. They just, like, the record companies made that up so you have to buy new records. Like, you literally go through and play every record backwards and you're like, fuck, I guess this need new records now because, you know, they don't really believe in the devil. Like, I'm pretty sure short of Slayer, none of these bands really had truly satanic lyrics. I mean, Cotton Eye Joe is pretty satanic in nature, but I don't think the lyrics are that. I just wanted to kill myself and go to hell. Speaking of hell, like if we're thinking of like if the way to guarantee you go to hell is to not believe in God, like denounce God, wouldn't hell be full of hipsters? I mean, like the River Styx runs full of PBR. Like it's just a bunch of beard oil on fire. And you gotta think it's just a bunch of Civil War beards, because it's like generals from the Civil War and hipsters. Like, and you really want to see fucking Hitler's Screamo band? I know I don't. That's Mein Kampf. Oh man. Speaking of like Hitler and shit, do you think he has like the best seat in the house, or like you think maybe like do they do it by numbers down there? Like you're not quite evil enough. Like, you could have stepped it up, stalled it a little better. And then all of a sudden some Asian dude's like, stop that shit right now. That was for me. But yeah, like and you can see, especially like speaking of like rock music, and like they're all like, yeah, Satan, I want to be a soldier of Satan. Yeah, that's really gonna work out. Like I'm pretty sure that roster's full. Like I don't really think you want your services at this point. But all that, like, it really is annoying when people are like, oh, you need to believe in God and all this stuff. But the only thing more annoying than that is like evangelical atheists, actually. We get it. God doesn't exist. Make my sandwich. Because that's the thing. Like, usually if people don't get hired at places when they say, I don't believe in God. So if he's telling you he doesn't believe in God, it's like the verbal spoken version of a neck tattoo. Like, I keep that off your Facebook, bro. But we get it. Those aren't even your thoughts. Sounds like a Christian. Thank you very much. My name is Andrew Best.
Andrew Best, everyone. That was. I might have to steal those rape jokes for Easter. All right, everyone. We have our next comic coming up. I totally know what her name is. Everyone, give a hand for Stephanie Hall.
Well, thank you everybody for coming out. It is such a pleasure to be here. There are only 2 more days until Zombie Jesus Day. Woo! I can't wait for the little chocolate bunny turd droppings everywhere. Fun. You know, to everybody who couldn't make it out today, I'm sending thoughts and prayers. Well, because I really don't give a fuck. Hashtag 0 fucks, only prayers. Hashtag no second thought. Never seen a Christian give second thought to anything except dessert. I'm starving. Jesus loves me. Well, if I could rid the world of one malady, I'm sorry, this is my question portion of this talent competition. So if I could rid the world of one malady, it would be religion. I think so many, it kills so many people every year. Why aren't we funding, oh wait, never mind. Some of my very favorite things to do in life are considered sins. Like gluttony? Yes. And fornication, of course. But my favorite so-called sin is blasphemy. God damn, it's refreshing. So I get asked a lot of stupid questions in life, as people know. Someone asked me not too long ago, when did you convert to atheism? Like, bitch, that's like asking me, did I dye my hair bald? No, I didn't. So, something that's not really a sin, but is considered a sin, depending on the religion, is drinking. And I'm really good at drinking. Like, almost as good as those other sins, like gluttony. I was going to say gluttony. So, St. Patrick's Day, I'm like a creature of habit, so I drink my tequila, and I drink 5 or 6 more tequilas. And then I'm like, wow, I could go for a Guinness. Well, what I said was, I would go for Guinness. So I have 2 pints of Guinness. I top it off, right? Just mix it all together. Hoorah, fucking party. I woke up the next morning, I felt so guilty. Like maybe I had mixed too much Catholic crap inside of this atheist body. Hey. So as a kid, I was raised a Baptist, a Southern Baptist, which is like a snooty form of Baptist. It's almost Methodist, but more camouflage on Sunday. Being raised by a Southern Baptist family, they were like, everything was God's will, everything happens for a reason, it's all, you know, part of the master plan, and I'm like, Gott ist tot, which is German for God is dead. So tell me about predestination in your master plan. And I'm like, well, there's this one guy who had a plan. Let's see how that turned out. Anyway, not to be a bummer at a comedy show, but we are talking about religion, so, you know. So, like, in my family, the worst things could fucking happen. The dog got hit, oh, well, you know, everything happens for a reason. You know, your grandpa dies, and they tell you, well, he's with God now. He's not in pain anymore. I was like, I saw the morphine drip. He wasn't in fucking pain anyway. Better played. Fuck you. Like, I swear, if my mom was bleeding out of her asshole, she would yell, hey baby, I think I got the stigmata in my butthole. And my dad would be like, shrine it off. You know, I was raised by these parents, and they were all right, but I was really fucking depressed as a kid. Like, why wouldn't you be? She's all praise Jesus, and you're just a heathen. I got called a heathen so fucking much as a child. I was like, I prefer the term slobarian. Thank you very much. You're a sloppy little barbarian. It just sounded so mean. But I was raised to believe that masturbation was a sin, and that if I did it, I would die. And so when I was suicidal, I locked myself in my room and blanked it like I monkeyed. That was a lie, there wasn't a Mom. Thanks. So I realized kind of when I was younger that I'm solipsistic. And solipsism is when an organism can't know anything outside of itself. Like my raging apathy just keeps that at a high level right there. And so, you know, I determined that there was, you know, God, and even if there was, I don't have room for that in my life. There's only room for one egomaniacal maniac, and that's me. Thank you so much. I got this. Oh, I wasn't done. Keep your damn hands up. So, I was thinking, God, what people are want to do. So when I was very little, you know, even littler than this, I used to pray to God, please, I want to be as tall as my daddy. Please, I just want to be as tall as my daddy. And when I reached the lofty height of 5'1", I realized that was really fucking short. Like, I got trolled on some next level Wishmaster shit right there. Oh, well, prayers are answered. I can't reach the top of the fridge, but fuck you. So, one of the big influences in my life was Stephen Crane, a poet from the 18th century, and he was a satirist. He was very funny, and he said one day, well, he wrote it, he said, forgive, O Lord, my little jokes on thee, and I shall forgive thy great big one on me. And that spoke to me. Like a little devil sitting on my shoulder, that spoke to me. I was like, if there is a God, he has a very sick fucking sense of humor. Like opiate for the masses. But religion is a crutch, and it's a money-making machine. But, you know, everybody says, well, Jesus saves. And I'm like, what does he say? 15% by switching to Geico? Fuck you. No. Atheism and comedy seem to go like hand in hand, you know? Some of my favorite comedians, like, you know, Stephen Fry and Janine Garofalo and like Phyllis Diller, God, you gotta love her. Like, the universe took all of her husbands, left her with 5 kids. She was like, sell pussy or tell jokes. Well, I'm gonna have to do the one to do the other, so let's roll. And she was an affirmed atheist, and you gotta love it, you know? Well, if I were a proper atheist, I would stop fucking in the missionary position. television evangelists were more like infomercial commentators who'd be like, for the low, low price of 10% of all your income, you too can have a glorious afterlife. Some moral conditions do apply. Tax exempt status also applies. Fuck you, church. All religions are the same, basically. It all boils down to the same shit. Anybody in the world, no matter what your religious affiliation is, you take a dump, you look down on the toilet, because that's what Dr. Oz says, you gotta check that shit. So you look down on the toilet, and a Baptist would say, my shit's bigger than anybody else's. Yeah. And a Catholic would look down and be like, I got some shit to confess. A Muslim would look and say, well, that shit is the will of Allah. A Methodist would say, well, at least my shit doesn't stink as bad as everybody else's. A Jewish person would look down and say, oy vey, I feel guilty about some shit. A spiritualist might say, I feel cleansed. A Hindu would look at that and be like, I don't eat beef because I'm not down with that shit. A Buddhist would say, I am at one with all of this shit. And of course, us atheists, we look down and we say, when the fuck did I eat corn? All right, guys, you are swell. Have a wonderful pagan weekend. Woo!
I could have sworn you were going to say atheists look in there and say, that's shit. I have the measurements to determine it's shit. It smells like shit, so it's shit. Okay, unfortunately, Nick Griffith couldn't make it to this comedy, but I found someone else. It was very short notice. So I would like to introduce you to Pastor Michael Dudrick.
I find myself in an awkward situation here. I was booked to do a Good Friday service over at the church on campus. But then I saw one of your flyers online. And I knew I had to come down here and tell y'all about the Lord Jesus. Oh, sweet Jesus. And I'm hoping on this Good Friday, you are going to open your hearts and your wallets to the Lord. May I ask you, can I ask you just one question? Just one question.
Yeah.
How are you all not raping and murdering each other right now? I don't understand it. I was told this was a room full of non-believers, blasphemers, sinners, fornicators. I gotta say, there's only one thing. There is only one thing that's keeping me from robbing, raping, and murdering every one of you right now. And that's this here book. This book right here. It has all the answers in it. It's unfathomed. It completely. Every word is truth. Good words to live by. You can turn to any page in this book and find guidance for your life. You can turn to any page and you will learn something. For example, Psalm 137:9. Blessed shall be who takes your little ones and dashes them against the rock. That's good words to live by. Peter 2:18, servants, be submissive to your masters with all fear, not only to the good and the gentle, but also to the harsh. God's good. God is good. Praise Jesus. Finally, Exodus 21:20. And if a man beats his male or female slave with a rod so that he dies under his hand, he shall surely be punished. Notwithstanding, if he remains alive a day or two, he shall not be punished, for he is his property. All good words. All good lessons to live by. Right, I just turned and randomly found those. Look at me. Why does it feel so good? Why does it feel so good to have the Lord inside me?
Oh, no.
Every little bit of Him, He enters every part of my soul and my body. It just fills me up and it makes me feel so warm and gooey. Jesus Christ, I love you so much. I just love getting on my knees for you, Jesus. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, all right. Now, let me say some more manipulative things. While we pass this collection plate here. All right, go ahead and pass that out there. This is a love offering. A love offering. All right, let's pray. Let's pray. Let's pray. Well, dear Jesus. By the way, I will be donating all of this to this organization of sinners. So dip in, maybe 10%'s going to them. I get the rest of it. Let's pray. Let's pray. Come on, pray. Dear Jesus, God who is all powerful, needs our money. Pray that this money goes to the poor and sick. Even though God, even though you can just wave your magic wand or whatever and make all that go away. I don't know why. I don't know why, God, there's all these children soldiers in other countries. I don't know why, God, why you gotta kill kids in school shootings. You work in mysterious ways. God, I don't know why, when you have the power to keep kids from dying from cancer, you still give it to them. Why? Why? I don't know, God. You work in mysterious ways. You work in mysterious ways. Please pray that this collection plate be filled to the brim so that I can do good work for you, God, so that I can take Uber Black instead of Uber X. So that I can eat at Savannah's tonight for dinner. No, that's so that there's more soup for the homeless people. They need their soup. I'll fill up on Savannah's. I'll take that bullet, God. And most of all, I pray that collection plate gets full so that I can influence elections. Good holy men like our dear President Donald J. Trump are re-elected to make America great again. Amen. Donald J., he's a good Christian, I promise you. Sure, who hasn't accidentally paid a porn star to have sex with him and commit adultery? Everybody has that happen once in a while. All of us good Christians. Well, while you're filling this plate, think to yourself, this is not money. This is love. This is how much I love Jesus. Fill that offering with love. Come on, fill that plate up with love for Jesus. Love for Jesus. And I say, how much do you love the Lord? I could heal you. I could heal you if I want to. That collection plate, it's not big enough to get out the healing. Huntington, I hope to see you all on church here on Sunday or on Easter. And good night and Good Friday. Amen, amen, forever and ever. Amen. We're coming for you.
Okay. Before I get started, I just want to say that all the time God is good. What are you supposed to say?
All the time God is great.
Ah! Okay. I wasn't sure how that works because I'm not black.
Get speed up on
I'm just saying, I've never seen a white person do that. Okay, please welcome to the stage our next comedian, Seth Taylor.
All right, guys. I guess this is everybody that's left after the rapture. So I've been thinking about joining a gym. Well, actually, I'm a little hesitant about joining the gym ever since they started calling it resistance training. It's like, hey, you want to go to the gym? No thanks, guy. I don't want to be part of your uprising. No, but really, I've been thinking about joining a gym because I want to be more like Jesus. You know, like, have you seen pictures of Jesus? Like, Jesus, that guy is shredded. You know, it's like, why is he so ripped? Like, how did Jesus get so ripped? Like, was it from all that walking? Like, it can't be. Like, could it be swimming? It can't be. Because for him, that's just walking. Like, I know what you guys are thinking. The answer is right in front of you. CrossFit, you know? But it can't be CrossFit. It can't be CrossFit. CrossFitters killed Jesus. They were like, what is he, like 5'2", 5'3"? I lose a lot of audiences during that joke when I mentioned Jesus was short. You know, can't mention it without at least a few Christians getting a little crossed. But I was thinking a lot about Joseph. You know, Joseph was Jesus' dad. You know, well, stepdad, whatever, for you heathens out there who don't know. But Joseph was a carpenter, and so was Jesus. So for the first 30 years of Jesus' life, Joseph trained him to be a carpenter. You know, and then after 30 years, Jesus was like, hey, yeah, thanks for everything. I'm going to go talk about my real dad for the rest of my life. You know, and it's sad because, like, Joseph wasn't even at the crucifixion. You know, Joseph wasn't there when Jesus died. And it's a good thing, because it would have broken his heart to see that carpentry really was behind Jesus. One thing I think is weird about, like, the whole Mary getting pregnant with Jesus thing is, why can't God talk to women? You know, he sent, he's like, hey, Gabriel, come over here, let me holler at you for a second. I need you to go talk to this girl for me. You're God, why can't you talk to her? Can you literally just be a wingman? You know, so Gabriel is God's wingman, right? You know, but he's also a herald. You know, so Gabriel's not only a wingman, he's God's hype man. You know, he came bursting out the cloud. He was like, yeah, boys, Gabe. You know, with a big sundial just draped around his shoulders. You know, but I actually grew up. I actually grew up. See, I'm here before you now. No, but I grew up like in the church. I was actually like a youth minister, like back in the day for like between the ages of 14 and 18. Like, which is why I know like so many just stories like about the Bible and stuff. I actually made my first stand-up style joke from the pulpit, you know, and it was met with thunderous silence. Like, I had all the kids in like Sunday school or whatever. They put all like these verses or whatever on these fish, you know, and they were like, oh, you know, just say we have these scripture fish and have the kid pass them out. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, the kids have prepared these scripture fish, or as I like to call them, holy mackerel. And I just looked back to see my mom just like, just lower her eyes in shame at her blasphemous son. Church is weird though. Church is a place of like great guilt. You know, they guilt you, you know, just for feeling how you feel. You know, I got a boner in church one time. You know, I was feeling the spirit. No, but I got a boner in church one time because I was 13 and it just happens, you know. But anyway, they had the collection plate, you know, up at the front, you know, and they were like, let us now worship God with our tithes and offerings. You know, and Mom hands me some money and was like, go up there and put it in. I'm like, no. And she was like, just do it. So I get it. I walk up to the front, stick it in the offering, and I turn back around in my tight-fitting khakis to a horrified look of the congregation. What I think is interesting, though, is that a year after that happened, when I was 14, they made me youth minister. So they were like, this kid loves Jesus. I think it's interesting. You know, they have the 10 Commandments, like in the Old Testament. You know, I think it's interesting. Like in the story, Moses comes down like with the commandments, and like they're down there worshiping like a gold calf. You know, because when he had gone up into the mountain for 2 weeks, the Jews were like, hey, you know, we're not going to just worship nothing. Like, what are we supposed to do in the meantime? Like, so 2 weeks later, they make this magnificent golden calf. Moses comes down, smashes the commandments, goes back up, comes down with another copy. So so whenever he destroyed them, I think it's interesting that the second copy, he's like, okay, first commandment, guys, no other gods. You know, it sounds like a little bit of backtracking. But I'd like to open up the floor for any questions. Like, I'm well versed, no pun intended, in the Bible, ha ha ha, right? But if anybody has any questions, any Bible story that they want to know more about, let me know right now. What about this group of 4 people who won't stop talking? How about you guys? No? Okay. I'm like God to them because they don't believe in me. And they're just now realizing I'm talking about it.
Talk about the guy who fucked his daughters.
Okay, that guy. So, I know a lot about this guy. This guy's name is Lot, okay? So, basically what it was Lot and his 2 daughters like fleeing and they're taking refuge or whatever. Well, anyway, Lot's daughters get him drunk, like good and drunk, in a cave, and they fuck him. Because who knows why? You know, because there's not a lot of stuff to do. There's not any internet. You know, they're not going to not fuck somebody, just like they're not going to not worship something like Moses. But any other Bible stories? I'm full of them.
Jonah and the whale.
Jonah and the whale. Well, technically, it's Jonah and the big fish because, you know, apparently they needed to make that distinction long before and other, you know, classifications. The various kingdoms, animalia, plants and shit, they were just like, that's a big fish. I think it's interesting. You know, I think it's interesting that, shoot, I don't know what I think is interesting. But, well, okay, one thing I think is interesting is that when the universe was forged in the crucible of, like, the Big Bang or whatever, if you guys liked how I phrased that, because I'm sure it's phrased that way in some sort of science book. But I think it's interesting that God's first words, like in the Bible, were, let there be light. You know, and obviously light's fundamental, you know, particle, nothing's faster than light. It's the limit that's set. So I think it's interesting that the first thing that was formed in the Big Bang was light. You know, God was like, let there be light. You know, but but I think it's interesting, like that there's so much like just disconnect between Cause let me personally say, like, I'm not atheist, you know, I'm not Christian either, you know, I'm agnostic, cause basically, I'm like, you know, the whole concept of God's like a cool thought experiment, you know, I like to consider God, you know, cause I'm too much of a scientist to rule something out without having any proof. Like, you can't prove that something doesn't exist, you know, and that's the one, like, cognitive dissonance thing. It's like, if you can prove that something's there, if it's there, cause it's there, but you can't, like, prove that there's nothing. You know what I mean? Like, so just as a cool little thought experiment, I don't know why I'm rambling on about this shit. I've had a lot of pin-up shit for like between the ages of 14 and 18. But anyway, that's my time, everybody. I'm Seth Taylor.
It was about halfway through that last rant, I was counting how many times he was saying like.
I like life.
He likes like. I counted to about 20. Okay, everyone, please. Let me get my list out. Jessica Thirst!
What's up, sinners?
Woo!
I like going to church sometimes for Baptist church dinners. It's the best thing about church. I've been to probably about 300 Baptist church dinners in my life. And I've been an atheist for the last 11 years. It's pretty similar to what I do whenever I go to the pet store. They'll be like, you want to pet one of these puppies? I'm like, yeah, sure, get them out. Let me play with them. I take them down, cuddle this little puppy for about 5-10 minutes. Pet store employee will come back, be like, you want to take him home? I'm like, no. I didn't come here to make a commitment. Are you kidding me? I'm not fucking stupid. I came here to have my needs met, and I'm not. I gotta be careful nowadays because people are crazy out there. All these dangerous people that you hear about on Tinder. So I always make sure that I get a dude's full address, his phone number, and a photocopy of his ID before I hook up with him. If he has a problem with these things, then he's not the right dude for me because he's not willing to respect my boundaries. I also feel like if you're willing to give me a free DNA sample, you should be willing to give me your other information. Tangled up here. I'm not as safe as I should be though, and I bet you guys aren't either. As an example, raise your hand if you've ever given oral sex with protection. Yep. That's what I fucking thought. What's the point? What's the point? I mean, other than not getting STDs. Other than that, no point whatsoever. If somebody came at me with some saran wrap, I'd be like, are you trying to wrap the pussy up and take it home for later? I don't do that. There are no to-go boxes at this restaurant. I get away with saying a lot of shit that other people don't get to say because I have female privilege. And yeah, if I was a man and I acted exactly the same way, no one would talk to me. They'd be like, that dude's a fucking creep. I went up to a girl at a party one time and I was like, hey girl, you look fuckable. And instead of getting hit with a restraining order, she was like, thanks, let's go to the bathroom and make out. I have extremely bad gaydar, but in the opposite direction. Instead of assuming everyone's straight, I just assume everyone's queer. And it's not really my fault, it's just that women have conditioned me to think that way. Every time a straight girl has said, you know, I'm really straight, it's been while she was eating me out. So I can only ever be like, that's nice, honey. You're not done yet. I I like to watch incest porn, but I have a problem. That's not even a punchline, you guys. I have a problem with my suspension of disbelief. It's just really difficult for me to believe that anyone gets along that well with their family. I've never seen it in real life. Also, the punishments are very fake to me. Like, it's like, you know, there'll be some like stepdad shit and he's like, all right, it's your punishment, you have to suck my dick. I wish my stepdad made me suck his dick. You know what my stepdad did to me instead of making me blow him? He made me bury a dead raccoon. I sucked 10 dicks before I would bury another bloated, maggot-filled raccoon. I would blow all of you. Just what's on my mind today. I've had 2 abortions. I know you all are very impressed. You're like, only 2? It really is, if you think about it. One time when I was going to church, the pastor's wife was like, you know, when you die and you go to heaven, you'll see both of your babies there. And I was like, wow, really? That's amazing. They cannot take a hint. I didn't want you in the first place for 18 years. I don't want you for all eternity. I don't know how much more clear I could be about this. When I flush you down the toilet like a goldfish, you do not understand. I'm not cut out to be a mom. I don't know what's in what to expect when you're expecting, but I'm pretty sure there's nothing that says, pro tip, snort coke off a boner while you're pregnant. It will turn out great. So, if I ever go to heaven, which I find very, very doubtful, I hope those kids don't wait up. Not coming. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm Jessica Thirst. I love you all. Have a great night.
Jessica Thirst, that's probably exactly what the apologetics thought our stand-up was going to be. Just a bunch of talk of gay sex, abortion, and incest porn. That's exactly what this night is all about. Okay, welcome to the stage our next comic, Josh McDonald.
You guys hear that stage squeak? Jesus Christ. And this actually was my idea, and I think I mentioned something about snacks. That's why these seats look like this, because churches have coffee and food. Donuts. All I'm saying is, like, donuts make me want to go nuts, and I want some right now. So, David, get me a donut. I grew up in a fundamentalist Christian household, and it's kind of fun, you know what I mean? I used to witness the kids on the school bus and get hit with my Bible. It's true. It's true. I remember this bus driver made me not ride anymore after that. Who's the bus driver? It's the point of that joke, that he hit me in the head with the Bible. And no praying takes that pain away. It hurts like fuck. The spine of the Bible? Oh my God. Yeah, hit somebody in the head with that Bible. It sucks. Yeah, I grew up in that family, and my dad, he would read us the Bible before bed, right? Which, if you don't think about that, sounds kind of touching, like he was wanting to steer us in the right way. But if you do think about that at all, the Bible is not a story time book, right? It is one of the most terrifying books ever written. Like, we went out and saw the movie Babe as a family. He decides that this is the perfect night to read the only story ever written where demons sucks. Sorry, let me get back. Jesus takes demons out of a possessed man and just throws them into pigs. Right? Like, that sounds Like, that's not sweeping it under the rug. Like, he's supposed to be the most powerful man, smartest man that ever lived on Earth. And all I could think of in the moment was, that'll do, pig. And I fell asleep during it, so I thought that was the end of the story. So for the rest of my life, I just pictured one guy coming up to Jesus after like, hey, Jesus, nice job taking care of all those demons out of Bartholomew, but there are demon pigs running around the city. Have you ever smelled demon pig shit? It fucking stinks. And that was like the only thing Bartholomew had at parties. He was possessed. That was his thing. That's how he got laid. Jesus, come on. Think ahead. But it's not. I did a show, and a lady came up to me after, and she was like, that's not the end of that story. And I'm like, okay, well, tell me what it is, because I never want to touch that book again. I got hit with it. And she was like, what happens is he takes the demon pigs, and he runs them off of a cliff into water. Because I don't know if you know this about demon pigs and demons in general. They know how to defy the laws of physics and go into pigs. You can't figure out water. Don't know how to swim, demons. They can't. That's why water is not in hell, it's fire, because they can't swim. No, I don't understand why the three major religions fight so often, right? Like, they're all so similar. Like, they're super similar. They all originated in the Middle East, and yet there's all these wars in forever, right? Like, it's still going on right now. People are dying because of it. That's like three guys in a bar arguing about which Police Academy film is the best. Like, Police Academy 3 is the one true film. Which is not as Police Academy 2. It's the best one. I've been that guy. I was reading this article the other day that was like going on and on about near-death experiences. I was saying, you know, people believe that when they die and like people come close to death, that they have these visions, or I guess people accept it as real, where they go to heaven, they meet Jesus. And one of the most popular books ever written about a near-death experience was written by a 5-year-old child with the last name Malarkey. Now, that made me almost believe in God. Because that seems like someone would be like, this is bullshit. Do not believe a 5-year-old, right? And people are like, well, why would a 5-year-old kid say he saw Jesus? He's not smart enough to do that. I was 5 years old in a fundamentalist Christian household. I was witnessing to my bus driver, right? Like, Jesus is all you think about 24/7. That's why you go crazy. That's, of course he's going to see Jesus. Like, if you go to a secular kid and be like, well, we know we lost you for a minute after your surgery. Tell me, what did you see? SpongeBob? He was kissing Batman and we got cookies. Kids make up shit is what I'm saying. So everyone just talked about Christianity the whole time. Like, we all agree that like Muslims suck dick, right? Like they're bad. Jews too. Like it's not a good, not like them as people, but everything that they stand for. It's not good. There's people being beheaded right now, right? Isn't that weird to think about? We get to do this in this lovely carpeted room. It's beautiful. I'm glad to be here. I don't want to be in some sand dungeon getting my head chopped off. It sounds awful. I'm assuming it's not next door, is why I said sand dungeon. You know, admit it to yourself or not, when you picture someone getting beheaded, usually around sand. It's not on a street corner. I was thinking about, like, because people don't give enough shit to Eastern religions, but I understand why. They have a lot of good values. Like Hindus, right? They believe cows are sacred and we shouldn't eat them. I can understand why. And we eat them, right? Westerners will eat the shit out of and that doesn't, like, it shouldn't surprise the Hindus that we do that, because we pretend to eat our own Messiah, right? Like, their doctrine's like, these animals are sacred, they're beautiful, we must not harm them. We're like, let's drink our fucking God's blood! Can we do that? Insanely wild religion. Also, people talk a little bit about atheists. Everyone, when they become an atheist, they feel like they're the first person who realized it, right? When you first become an atheist, you're super smug about it. You become one of those people like that post those fucking math memes on Facebook. Like, I'm the smartest fucking person in the world. And everyone else is just like, you're stupid. You have khakis and a fucking ponytail. Christopher Hitchens was smart. You're not smart. You just know how to read a book. Anybody can regurgitate, like Nick said, or somebody said that. Wait, Nick didn't show up. It was that preacher man that looked just like Nick. Those are, you look handsome in that suit. I was not prepared for this at all, by the way. Also, I've been drug-free for like 2 months. Unintentional. Someone give me free drugs, please. It's not a joke. There's this thing I have to... someone mentioned this. Someone said something about the Lord working in mysterious ways. I don't understand where people go with the something bad will happen, or good. People will be like, the Lord works in mysterious ways. I think you mean serial killers. Serial killers work in mysterious ways. One's got blood, I said that. I don't know what it was. I don't know if you guys read recently about the latest sexual misconduct among a celebrity. It was Jesus. They found a 2,000-year-old scroll, right? They read it. This lady was claiming that, verbatim, it was like, he just sat me down and he just kept asking if I would wash his feet. He was just like, you gotta wash. I guess that was his, at least the Messiah. I felt like I couldn't say no. I guess that was his kink. And I kept asking him for water because I was tired. There was so much feet rubbing. I was like, can I have a glass of water? He kept turning into wine. And it was red wine, and I like white. I felt like I didn't have a choice. Anyway, I'm Josh. You guys have a good night.
Dr. Donald, everyone. In the Mormon faith, God actually has sex with Mary, and they have tons of celestial sex children. Just wanted to bring that out there. Okay, for our next comic, our last comic of the evening, is by far probably the one comic who's most excited to do this more than anyone, which is why I made him go last. Everyone, I want you to welcome Black Jesus himself, the angry black man, Chris Shanklin.
How are y'all doing today on this Good Friday? Well, I'm glad they had me laugh, but as y'all know, nobody in the room has been affected by Jesus as much as me. Just saying. First, I'm going to start this off by saying, who is off on Sunday? Because I really want to go outside of churches and just wait for everybody to go outside. So I'm going to say, Jesus is risen. Guess what? April Fools. I'm really about to do this shit. For real. I'm about to go to the hood and all that shit. I'm just saying, be ready, but I'm doing this shit. Dead ass. But anyway, let's go ahead and start at the beginning. Let's start at the Genesis. The Adam and Eve story. Is there anybody in here that believes in the Bible just a little bit? No? I'm glad, because I'm going to tell y'all ahead of time. Anybody who does, I believe they think that the Jungle Book is also non-fiction. Where the fuck else have you seen a talking snake? I'm going to tell you how dumb humans are to believe in this bullshit. The way the story goes, there was a man and a woman. There was a snake. And the snake says, hey, try out this apple. The snakes even eat apples. Like, who the fuck is going to take advice from a snake about how good an apple is? Seriously. Maggie, how does dick taste? You have no clue, right? So no female should ask you that damn question. That's the whole point. I'm just saying, that's what it is. For real, it's the dumbest shit ever. Later in stories in the Bible, anybody in here have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever? Okay, cool, that's fine. Have y'all ever went to a party and told her there won't no other girls gonna be there? Oh, y'all don't want to allow yourself right now? Well, anyway, if we go in the book of the Bible, apparently there was an issue where there was only 4 people alive. There was only 4 people alive. Adam, Eve, Cain, Abel. Cain killed Abel. Boom, we got 3 people. Next thing you know, they tell this guy he has to leave the party, and he goes to another party and meets somebody. How the fuck that happened? I'm just saying, that's what the book says. Y'all believe this shit? Noah. This is one of my favorite stories in the book. For one, people are dumb enough to believe that there was a white man who built the boat by himself. You ain't paying no niggas to do it for you? He built the boat by his damn self, big enough to put all these animals in it. Come on. I see a lot of white people in there right now. Ain't none of y'all did too much of shit by y'all, so y'all gonna hire somebody. Let's be honest here. Further that story, that's how they explain slavery to us as black people. Y'all know that, right? You wanna know how they explain slavery to us? I want to say it's chapter 4. I could be I'm a little rusty. I used to want to be a preacher, believe it or not. I know y'all can probably tell since church choir, jazz, and all this shit. That's why I walk a certain way. You know what I'm saying? They tried me a few times. But I got away. Anyway, they teach us that he had 3 sons. Shem, Japheth, and Ham. Of course, Ham is the black one. That's why niggas always eat pork. Just saying. It is what it is. Have y'all heard this story? They say that, they say that supposedly Noah got a wine and he got drunk, passed the fuck out. He's the first nigga in the Bible who gets fucked up. Apparently the black person, Ham, was the one who saw him drunk first. Probably because he's the one that got his ass drunk. Either way it goes. For whatever reason, he saw him first. When he woke up and found out what he did, he sat there and said, "A curse be upon you." That's why we gotta be slaves. Because the niggas saw him first. We always see shit first. We always outside and shit. Right now, somebody's driving my house right now. I'm gonna go outside and see what the fuck going on. That's what the fuck we do. Just saying, that's what the fuck happened. Let's see, where am I at over here? Okay. Daniel and the lion's den. Have y'all heard about the one preacher the other damn day in Africa? White dude on a safari. He wanted to prove that God was real. So they on a safari, they see some lions who had just finished eating. This motherfucker jumps off the damn Jeep. It's always a Jeep, y'all know that. He jumps off the damn Jeep, runs over there, and they eat his buttocks off. The damn lions. You know what I'm saying? He sat there and said he thought that God was going to intervene, just like Daniel and the lions did. That should let people know right then and there that something was wrong with this motherfucking story. Okay, the way I think about the Bible, they got to change a lot of shit. To me, the Bible is like, all right, let's say I just bought y'all a 2018 Buick. I'm just using Buick because I'm black, and hell, we still like Buicks. I don't know if y'all may prefer Lincolns, but whatever. Let's say it's a 2018 Buick. And I give you a 1984 CarMax to deal with this Buick. There's new features now. Like, we have windows that roll up and down by themselves without the little crank. I call those tithes and offerings. Y'all remember the tithes and offerings back in the day? You got to give up so much of this cow or so much of this pig. When the fuck does it become money and this and that, and motherfuckers got church albums and shit now? Like, well, what the fuck is going on? Seriously, this is some bullshit. Bullshit. Also, the whole way they did us with Jesus as a black person, come on, y'all gotta admit, that's the most fucked up thing ever. The way they did us with Jesus. I'm gonna tell y'all the Jesus story from a nigga point of view. For one, y'all know there was a white guy, I wanna say his name was John Hawkins. I could be wrong, but it was something Hawkins or Dawkins, some shit like that. He comes to Africa. Can't wait to tell us about Jesus. Talk about all this fly shit in the afterlife. Yo, we got a white robe, got some gold and shit. I like white, I like gold. I want to go see this shit. We go meet Jesus in the damn slave shit by the name of Jesus Lubach. Brought us over to this motherfucker. We got a free trip. We didn't know what kind of trip was going to be. Yeah, it's the fucking truth, man. That's what the fuck happened. Oh, no. Get the fuck over here. They sitting there feeding us pig feet and chitlins, Yeah, you know y'all sold croutons to us. You know croutons are slave food, right? Y'all gave us some fucking stale bread. Said, eat this shit, niggas. We sat there, threw that shit on top of some grass. Added some pepper, some salt. We made this shit delicious. And y'all took this shit from us and it's croutons now, niggas. You can't have this no more. I'm saying, I don't hate white people, but damn it, the fuck, that Bible makes you want to hate white people. And now let me go to the story of Jesus. This is the funniest shit to me ever. For real, for real. Okay. Honestly, for real, everybody always says, well, what would Jesus do? The first thing I told people on a Christian over, they said, well, what would Jesus do? What would Jesus think? What would Jesus do? Honestly, he would do a bunch of nigga shit.